Cable Bahamas has always been considered the innovator.
People can have confidence in Cable Bahamas as a mobile operator because of our past history. We've proven to the Bahamian community that we are in fact able to manage additional services as a telecommunications company.
Customers expect the best from Cable Bahamas.
The technology that we bring is revolutionary technology because we know that the Bahamian public, they deserve it, and Cable Bahamas is here to bring it to them.
We are ready. Turn us on.
The Commissioner of Police responds to a new claim of the PLP abusing its power. 3 men murdered in separate incidents in one day. The AG says there will soon be answers in the BEC bribe scandal. We've got those stories and more for you tonight. I'm Kyle Joaquin, and NB12 starts right now. The arrest and release of a consul general over the weekend is leading to new opposition claims that the Christie administration is again interfering with the course of justice. But in bringing the matter to public light, the Commissioner of Police was dragged into the ordeal, and now he is responding. In a press statement, the Free National Movement quoted eyewitnesses to the incident who claimed that Bahamas Consul General to Atlanta, Randy Rolle, was arrested by police in Bimini last Friday after he used obscenities against officers who would not allow him and his 3 American guests to enter a restricted area which had been cordoned off by police. They claim as a result of his behavior and language, Rolle was handcuffed and placed into a police vehicle while one of his female companions repeatedly beat on the police car as he was being driven away. The opposition claims Rolle used his one call while in police custody to contact Prime Minister Perry Christie, and that eventually a call was made from the police commissioner to the head of the Bimini police station, followed by Rolle's release from custody. The FNM says Prime Minister Perry Christie is now duty-bound to explain to the Bahamian people the circumstances surrounding Rolle's arrest and subsequent release. Government has yet to respond, but Randy Rolle is denying any politician intervened to smooth things over with police on his behalf. He had initially told the Nassau Guardian that he was never arrested, but he later issued a brief press statement on the incident, admitting that he was detained by police last Friday. Still, he insisted that at no time did he ever call or speak to the Prime Minister during the time of the events. He wrote that the matter was resolved without recourse to any politician and that he was released without charge. Well, today, Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade did not wish to go on camera, but he did emphatically deny claims that there was any political interference in the matter.
The Assistant Superintendent, upon hearing the facts from the officers and having had an opportunity to likewise speak with Consul General Rolle, who then properly identified himself, took a course of action to release Consul General Rolle pending further investigation.
Greenslade said in light of his name being placed in the FNM's release, he contacted FNM Chairman Michael Pintard and asked him to contact him before placing his name in any other press releases.
Commissioner would have remained silent on the matter were it not for my name being inserted in the press release. And so as a result of that, I called the chairman of the FNM this morning, Mr. Pintard, to indicate that my name had been inserted in the press statement, indicating that apparently I issued an instruction for the release. And I explained to him that that was an error, that was not so.
Meanwhile, police are still investigating recent claims that Agriculture Minister V. Alfred Gray used his office to secure the release of a convicted man in Mayaguana. The FNM now suggests that abuse of power appears to be systemic within the Progressive Liberal Party. The FNM is calling for a full report on this latest incident to be sent to the Commissioner of Police and made public. It was a busy night for police last night as they were called to 2 separate murder scenes on New Providence within minutes of each other. The killings follow a holiday weekend marred with bloodshed in the capital, and now 3 more families are left to grieve their loss of their loved ones who fell victim to violence. In the last incident, the suspect is a 15-year-old honor roll student of R.M. Bailey High. Police opened 2 new homicide investigations last night as they were called to separate crime scenes within the same hour. Around 9:30, officers responded to calls of gunshots being fired between East Dennis Court and Graham Drive in Yellow Elder Gardens. At the scene, head of CDU Chief Superintendent Paul Rhodes said a man was found dead in his car.
EMS was summoned to the scene where they examined the individual and reported finding no signs of life. Our preliminary information is that this male was sitting in his vehicle when he was accosted by, we believe, at least one male who discharged shots into his vehicle, hitting him, fatally wounding him.
We're told the victim attempted to drive off but crashed into a parked car. Police are still hunting for the suspect in that case, but as officers processed that scene in Yellow Welder Gardens, a separate team was investigating a stabbing incident at a home through Robert Street, Nassau Village. In this one, an apparent domestic dispute between a 15-year-old boy and his uncle turned deadly.
A young man and a relative, two relatives, became involved in an argument. The younger, whom we believe is a juvenile, took a knife and stabbed his uncle to the chest, fatally wounding him. The juvenile was taken into custody, and we'll be speaking to him and trying to get some help and to try to advance that particular investigation in the village.
On the scene last night, the teen's mother became overcome with grief as she begged officers to grant her access to the house so that she could get her son's inhaler. The 15-year-old was reportedly in a cell and asthmatic.
That would really eat me up after all I going through. You want to tell me I should be grieving for my brother and they carry my son? Oh, and then they throw me out of the state shot? Oh,
However, because that house was still a crime scene, she was not allowed to do so. The body of her brother, the 44-year-old victim, was still lying on the ground. Those killings follow the fatal stabbing of a man found around 4 a.m. yesterday on Adventurers Way in Grand Bahama. Police are requesting the public's assistance in solving these cases. If you have any information that can assist in the investigation, you're asked to contact them at 919, your nearest police station, or Crime Stoppers anonymously at 328-TIPS. The murder count for the year now stands at 41. A Long Island man appeared in the magistrate's court this afternoon and was charged with the murder of a retired Canadian doctor that occurred last Thursday. Simone Davis was in court and filed this report.
43-year-old Moses Morris of Sims, Long Island, appeared before Magistrate Andrew Forbes Wednesday afternoon. It is alleged that on April 2nd, he murdered 88-year-old Harry Harding, who was a well-known doctor in British Columbia, Canada. Morris, who is dressed in the orange and blue striped shirt and green pants, was not required to enter a plea and was denied bail. According to police reports, Hardin was found stabbed to death at his home in Clarencetown, Long Island on April 2nd, shortly before noon. Morris was arrested 2 days later in connection with the incident. He was also wanted for questioning in reference to a house-breaking matter on that island. Harding retired a few years ago and was building his vacation home in Clarencetown, Long Island. Harding's grandson, Jamie Pruckle, previously told our news team that he thinks it's kind of sickening that someone would murder his grandfather, who he described as the funniest man he knew. Morris had no attorney. Magistrate Forbes told Morris that the matter would proceed to the Supreme Court by way of voluntary bill of indictment. He was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections. However, before Morris left the courtroom, Magistrate Forbes was notified that Morris had another matter before him. He was also charged with credit fraud. It is alleged that sometime during the 25th through the 28th of March, he incurred a debt to Aaron Rentals in Long Island and obtained $225. The second charge was causing damage to a 2002 Honda Fit in the amount of $2,101.66. He was not required to enter a plea for those charges and was again denied bail. Given the option, Morris elected to have both matters heard before the Supreme Court. Morris is set to reappear in court on June 19th for the presentation of the voluntary bill of indictment. From the Magistrates Court for NB12, I'm Simone Davis.
Also from court, 21-year-old Darius Ivan Pinder of South Beach Drive was also brought before Magistrate Andrew Forbes this afternoon. Pinder, dressed in the yellow shirt and black pants, was charged with the February 3rd murder of Torino Tucker. Tucker was shot and killed off East Street South while sitting on a wall a few houses down from his home the day before his birthday. Magistrate Forbes requested proof of identification to clarify Pinder's correct name and date of birth. Pinder was represented by attorney Michael Kemp. Pinder was also allowed to speak with his mother before he was arraigned and uttered the words, "I just came out. Now this again." He was not required to enter a plea, and his matter was fast-tracked to the Supreme Court by way of voluntary bill of indictment on June 19th. He was remanded to the Department of Corrections. Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson says there will soon be answers in the Bahamas Electricity Corporation bribe matter. Jasmine Brown has more in this report.
It's been months since allegations were made and an investigation was launched, and now the AG says there has been progress in that investigation.
I expect that imminently we'll be able to say something.
The allegation that an official accepted $325,000 in bribes to swing BEC contracts to Alstom SA, a French company, between 1999 and 2003 surfaced almost 4 months ago. Since then, many demanded that the government reveal who accepted the bribe, but the name has yet to be revealed. As for why it's taking so long, the AG says it's because they are being meticulous throughout the investigation.
Whatever steps, if they're ready to be taken, will be done so in accordance with the law, and there will be clear assurance that all proper steps to respect process have been taken. All that I would like to do is to assure the Bahamian public that everybody here in the Office of the Attorney General is very committed to transparency, to process, and to accountability. So once we feel that we have fully followed the process and there is something to say to the Bahamian people which goes to accountability, it will be said.
On December 22nd, the U.S. Department of Justice reported that Alstom agreed to pay $772 million to resolve allegations that it bribed high-ranking foreign government officials for lucrative projects. Federal prosecutors said Alstom falsified its records and paid tens of millions of dollars in bribes for help in obtaining more than $4 billion in projects in countries including Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and the Bahamas. As part of the plea agreement, the company detailed its corrupt practices. Bahamian authorities have asked U.S. officials for information relating to the matter. Maynard Gibson would not say whether the government already received information from U.S. officials.
I'm not going to say yay or nay to what you've heard, because of course we don't respond to rumors.
Several people have voiced their concern on the matter. Former BEC Chairman J. Barry Farrington has described the bribe taker as a traitor who must be revealed and made to pay a price for this unforgivable transgression. Farrington called on Prime Minister Perry Christie to appoint a nonpartisan commission to investigate and to make recommendations on how to bring a conclusion to this unwanted stain on the country's reputation. Former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham has said the matter should be turned over to police. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Later in the news, the Bahamas' Carifta swim team takes home the championship once again, so stay tuned.